Thank you for your attendance here today at the Estevan Police Service. We wanted to make the media aware of a project that was conducted within the city of Estevan. Project Minch was a drug project that was conducted over the past 3 weeks by our Drug and Intelligence Unit within the city of Estevan. The Estevan Police Service Drug Unit initiated Project Minch at the beginning of November. This 3-week investigation targeted 2 major cocaine trafficking groups from the province of British Columbia, as well as street-level cocaine traffickers within the city of Estevan. The 2 groups from British Columbia worked independently of each other and were considered 2 of the largest cocaine suppliers within the city of Estevan. Independent cocaine traffickers were also targeted in this project. The investigation involved undercover police officers for the purpose of purchasing cocaine. Over the course of 3 weeks, a total of 4 search warrants were executed, 3 in the city of Estevan and 1 in the city of Weyburn. Police have seized the following in relation to this investigation. Approximately $100,000 worth of cocaine and crack cocaine was seized, a quantity of marijuana, approximately $20,000 in Canadian currency, 1 vehicle that was used for the transportation of narcotics, 1 prohibited weapon, and numerous cell phones. 12 males and 1 female are facing a total of 44 criminal charges as a result of the investigation. The arrests and searches involve several officers from the Estevan Police Service, Criminal Investigations Division, Containment Warrant Entry Team, the Estevan Patrol Section, Estevan Forensics Identification Section, and members of the Weyburn Police Service. The following is a breakdown of the investigation. On November 9th, 2016, Estevan Police Service members executed a search warrant in the evening hours on a hotel room within the city of Estevan. Carson Norman Clifford Pelletier, 27 years, of Surrey, British Columbia, was arrested. Cocaine and crack cocaine was seized, along with Canadian currency and cannabis marijuana. Pelletier was charged with numerous criminal offenses in relation to this. On November 10th, 2016, the Weyburn Police Service Drug Unit and patrol members assisted the Estevan Police Service Drug Unit by executing a search warrant at a hotel room during the early morning hours. Dylan Thomas Churley of Chilliwack, British Columbia, age 26, was arrested. Cocaine and crack cocaine was seized, along with Canadian currency. Cocaine that was seized was destined to be sold in Estevan. Churley was charged with numerous criminal offenses in relation to his involvement. On November 12, 2016, the Estevan Police Service members executed 2 search warrants at residences in the city of Estevan during the early morning hours. Nicholas Jordan Bosco, 21 years of age, of Burnaby, British Columbia. Devin Jonathan Bailey, 33 years, of Calgary, Alberta. And Brooke Turner, 21 years, of Terrence, British Columbia, were arrested. Cocaine and crack cocaine were seized, along with Canadian currency and a prohibited weapon. Devin Jonathan Bailey, Nicholas Jordan Bosco, and Brooke Turner were charged with numerous criminal offenses in relation to their involvement. On November 19th, 2016, Estevan patrol members assisted the Estevan Police Drug Unit by arresting 5 males from Estevan for drug trafficking related offenses. Cocaine and crack cocaine, along with Canadian currency, 1 vehicle, and other items used for the sale and distribution of cocaine were seized. Chase Velastak, also known as Montaigne, 18 years of age, of Estevan, was charged with numerous criminal offenses in relation to his involvement. Jason Lee Montaigne, 19 years of age, of Estevan, Saskatchewan, was charged with numerous criminal offenses as well. 2 16-year-old males and 1 17-year-old male from Estevan, Saskatchewan were charged and cannot be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. They were charged with numerous criminal offenses for their involvement. November 21st, 2016, 2 males from Estevan were charged with drug-related offenses when officers seized a quantity of cocaine, Canadian currency, marijuana, and other items used for the sale and distribution of cocaine. Kevin Michael Jardine, 26, of Estevan, Saskatchewan, was charged with numerous criminal offenses for his involvement, and Jonathan Flath, 25, of Estevan, Saskatchewan, was charged with numerous criminal offenses as well. All individuals were released in front of the court on several conditions. Bosco, Peltier, Shirley, Bailey, and Turner are to remain out of the city of Estevan until future court dates. The next court appearance will be held on January 9th, 2017 at the Estevan Provincial Courthouse. The Estevan Police Service is continuing its commitment to disrupting all individuals involved in the drug trade within the city. Trafficking cocaine carries a minimum sentence of 18 months in jail. I can't say as Chief of Police how proud I am of the members of this service for the work that they have done and continue to do in our community to ensure that drugs are kept out of our city. I can tell you that this is not the end, but simply the beginning of our stance against drugs in this community. I believe that any person who wishes to traffic in narcotics within the city of Estevan, be forewarned, you will be caught and you will be charged. Thank you.
Cam?
Sure.
Are they released?
And you'll get a copy, so
you.
as long as
That's
you
why I
give us
wasn't
your
thinking.
emails, we'll get Krista to get your emails and we'll make sure each of you have an electronic copy as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
How many people, like you said?
13. So it's,
from yours?
12 male and 1 female.
And how many people are from the Estevan Police Service, though?
Oh, officers, you mean? Numerous. I can't,
Rotating.
Numerous. So
platoons.
all units,
Shifts.
so it would have been numerous members of the patrol unit, the containment and warrant entry team, obviously, were called in to do the search warrants. Our forensic identification officer was in charge of all exhibits, the city of Weyburn also assisted. So.
Okay. And they were working in separate groups. They were unbeknownst to one another, these two BC?
I can't say whether they're known to one another or not. They were two separate groups, so obviously dealing drugs separate apart from one another. So obviously there's various drug groups that run businesses like anyone would run a business, right? So they were part of a separate business entity, you might say.
And in all instances, it was marijuana, cocaine, and crack cocaine?
That's right.
No other drugs?
No other drugs.
We're not talking any methamphetamines or...
No. And this project was specifically targeting cocaine and crack cocaine.
Okay.
So that was what we were after, and that's what we found.
Okay. Were there any false leads or false stabs at this when you started doing your...
No,
your roundups, I guess.
No, one of the big things this is not surprising. We've said, as a police service, we had detected that there was, a large, substantial amount of drugs within our community. There was a high level of drug trafficking within our community. We set out and mapped out, the inspector and I, early on when we established, the Drug and Intelligence Unit, specifically for targeting drugs within our community. The containment warrant entry team was developed to assist with those search warrants. And the forensic identification officer. All these systems that are in place within our police service now are working like a fine-tuned machine. They're working as they should be. We have increased our capacity substantially to eradicate drugs from this community. And increased our capacity substantially when it comes to criminal investigations within this community. So it's something we're very proud of. The results are not surprising. And when I say, this is not the end, it's simply the beginning. Drug traffickers, be forewarned, without a doubt. We are diligently looking for you, without a doubt. Yeah.
Chief, if I may, you mentioned that the arrest started at the start of November, but how long did the entire investigation run through, I guess, from the very first tip all the way to the end?
Well, we don't discuss, obviously, our methods of investigation. That wouldn't be prudent by any means, and these matters, keeping in mind they're before the courts, so nobody has been convicted, simply charged. I can tell you that intelligence information is gathered on an ongoing basis within our police service. So we receive ongoing information of drug trafficking, of drug traffickers. We look at cell phones. We dump data from cell phones, obviously under the authority of search warrants and so forth. be forewarned. We've seized a number of cell phones here. If your name's in those cell phones, we have it. So, this is, common knowledge. We have the names, we have the connections, and we will continue to actively investigate those names and connections.
Based on that cell phone business, there's been some recent kerfuffles about that with regards to invasion of privacy, blah, blah, blah. Did you run into any of that? Challenges?
No.
Challenges legal or otherwise on that?
No, those challenges, when it comes to cell phones, and just as a side note, what we're hearing a lot of in the media right now is the issue when it comes to passcodes and encryption and breaking those passcodes and encrypted codes. So there's technology that can break those passcodes. It's in some senses it's very costly to police services and so forth. A lot of the phones those passcodes can be circumvented, keeping in mind that we always go through judicial authorization before we ever examine someone's cell phone. So we always have the support and the backing of the courts when we do that. We would never, under any circumstances, be invading someone's privacy on a cell phone without judicial authorization.
So you never got the, well, I don't know, from the judge?
Well, no. I mean, we were granted the warrants. The warrants were granted. They're we provide the information, and certainly. As we move through these investigations, we provide the evidence that we believe, and in this case, the Justice of the Peace supported our evidence that we presented on why we should be given authorization. So.
If I can just, I'm not sure how much you can go into this, but as a result of these arrests and the seizure of the cell phones and whatever, is there any, moving forward, is there any, has that provided any tips on any other projects, or is that...
Well, without getting too much into, again, police techniques and so forth, I think common sense prevails. Drug dealers be warned. If we're seizing phones and your information's in that phone, we're looking at you. And we're looking for you. So you want to come to Estevan, you want to deal drugs, we have the capacity to investigate those offenses. Keeping in mind, knowledge that every drug trafficker should be well aware of is minimum mandatory is 18 months in jail. So if you're willing to risk it, be prepared.
Are you talking traffickers and or suppliers?
I'm talking traffickers or suppliers. Trafficking, supplying is the same as trafficking.
Where were these drugs?
Well, that will lead into another investigation. So I'm not going to discuss that too much. But obviously we'll be exploring that further.
Yeah.
So.
But these guys were from BC.
Not all.
The first two.
The first two groups were from BC, and then the others are local drug traffickers.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Chief, a handful of these assailants, I would say, are youth or fairly young, I would say. I guess the influence of youth and what do you think kind of motivated them to go into this trade?
Well, I think we can all say it's motivated by money. There's substantial money made in drug trafficking. And at the end of the day, this is affecting people's lives. This is hooking people in narcotics at a very young age. We're seeing trafficking within our schools. We're seeing trafficking within our community. No longer will it be tolerated. We are taking a strong stance. We've made that very clear from the beginning. Don't be shocked if you're dealing drugs and you're arrested. None of these people should be surprised, because this has been the same song we've been singing since day one. If you choose to do it, be prepared to get caught at the end of the day. So, as I said, it's unfortunate that people are choosing this path at such a young age, but keep in mind that there is accountability. If you're choosing that, there is not a Canadian that I'm aware of that does not know that drug dealing in this country is illegal.
Were the ages... to me, it was surprising to hear how young it is. Is that common to have people that young in dealing such hard drugs?
Unfortunately, we're seeing it younger and younger, and that's one of the reasons we are taking, such a strong stand in this community. We're seeing people at very young ages get hooked and start to use and purchase cocaine. And that age is decreasing rapidly, and we are, as I said, we're taking a strong stand against that. And just the beginning, just the absolute beginning. So don't say you haven't been forewarned. If there's a young person coming up through the school system or a young person that thinks they're going to make a quick buck doing this, do not say you haven't been forewarned.
For sure. In regards to people helping you out, people that may have tips and or may know someone or even have a question or something, how can they go about doing that and also protecting themselves? You know, I know there's Crime Stoppers, and if you could just kind of touch on people kind of being proactive with that
Sure.
as well.
You know, this is a community that not only the police have said enough is enough. We get our direction from the community we serve. So we take that information when people come to us, no different than, you know, we talked about our underage drinking campaign. We don't pull these ideas out of a hat. We get this direction from the feeling of the community. This community has had enough with drugs and drugs at young age, so quite frankly, that's where we're getting the direction from as we move forward, and we're supporting what the community wants, in Estevan. And having said that, we have increased our intelligence capacity unbelievably, and we'll leave it at that. People are openly communicating with us in this community. People do not have to fear communicating with the police. There are two avenues that certainly people can contact Crime Stoppers. The other thing that people need to keep in mind is that if somebody chooses to come to the police as an informant and provide information, requesting assurance by the police that their name will not be exposed or their identity, we have a moral and legal obligation to do that. So there has to be a level of trust within your police service. I think we've demonstrated that time and time again, that trust level is there. We treat anyone that comes to us with information with the utmost respect and protection of privacy and ensuring that their identity is protected. So if there's someone out there with information, whether it be drugs or something else, contact your police service. Without a doubt, contact your police service. Ask to speak to a detective or a drug investigator, and make it very clear at the onset that you wish your identity protected. We will certainly put that as our top priority and assure your safety.
Chief, if I may, you said this is just the beginning. In terms of this case, is this now handed to the courts, or does the Estevan Police Service still have a role in this case?
Well, obviously we still have a role. We have to see it through the court process and so forth. So this will go to the federal drug crown, and who will see it through the court process. When I say it's just the beginning, I'm talking about just the beginning of warrants being executed in this community, just the beginning of undercover officers being infiltrated into this community, just the beginning of doing cell phone analysis as we apprehend people in this community. It is just the beginning of the Estevan Police Service tackling drug issues in Estevan. So expect more to come. And if you choose to deal drugs, expect to get caught. It's that simple.
So to follow up with that, a little while ago, the provincial government have given the city of Estevan $330,000 grant. Now, you said in an interview a part of that will go towards the drug enforcement in the Estevan Police Service in general. Now, regarding to this case, what's next?
Absolutely. So the provincial government has funded, over the last number of years, 3 positions within our police service to the tune of $330,000. So one of those positions, that $110,000 of that $330,000, is solely dedicated to the position of drug and intelligence. So that goes directly to gathering drug and intelligence information within our community. And the value of that money from the provincial government, I think, is seen here today. It's clearly money well spent in our community, and keeping in mind that that's not the only funds that drive the drug and intelligence investigations within our city. We have increased our criminal investigation capacity by increasing the number of investigators we have in our criminal investigations division. We have a full-time forensic identification officer. So when we're looking at, if we seize items and need them fingerprinted or documented or photographed so that they're secured
reserved for court down the road. That's a very important position that supports not only the drug unit, but any criminal investigations for that matter. We established, well over a year ago now, a dedicated containment and warrant entry team to assist with elevated risk search warrants. There's always a risk when police are entering a residence, especially with known drug traffickers, that things don't always necessarily go as planned. So the safety of our members is paramount, without a doubt. The safety of this community is paramount, and so that unit certainly has assisted numerous times with investigations when it comes to drugs in the city since we started this unit.
So what we're hearing there then is really this entire investigation and/or action did not really take away too much from the time and personnel for other that would have been dedicated to other duties.
Yeah, absolutely. We can move fairly quick.
People who were going to do this were doing it, and
that's right.
It didn't take away from traffic enforcement.
No. I mean, we still have 2 traffic officers out there, every day as part of the CTSS.
So personnel was
not
assigned to this.
impacted. I mean, obviously, there's some longer hours put in for some members when we have things like this on the go. But having said this, if this is the culmination of 3 weeks of work in our city, and we're talking over $100,000 worth of cocaine and crack cocaine being seized, vehicles being seized, weapons being seized, and so forth. There's good things to come. I don't like to call them good things. It's bad things, but good things that, in the sense that we're starting to tackle. Yeah.
And these arrests, just in regards to the containment and warrant entry, they all went well. There weren't any issues.
No issues whatsoever. So that the purpose of that team.
Whose door got broken?
No, in fact, most of them we endeavor to enter with as little damage as possible. Always, but keep in mind that this team is what I call insurance for this community. It's in the event things go bad, we have the capacity to deal with it. It's much better to go into prepared. I've been policing for over 25 years, and my experience has been, that when you go to a situation prepared, you get compliance. So when we send this team out, we're not looking for confrontation, we're looking for compliance. We're looking for people to come out and say, okay, you got me, and the gig's up. Everybody walks away safely at the end of the day that way.
So just in plain short, no one resisted arrest out of the 14 or 13 that were arrested?
No, there's no resist arrest charges laid or anything like that, so everyone was compliant.
Okay. Good.